Thank you for the opportunity to speak here this evening. My face may not look familiar, but I assure you I have been around a very long time and have deep roots in media. A trip down memory lane reminds me that Mr. Tyson and I were once next-door neighbors on Jackson Street many years ago. Mrs. Barsavages, I graduated with your sister-in-law and spent a fair amount of time at her home when I was in elementary school. I remember her teaching me how to spell Barsavages, and I felt so accomplished when I spelled it right. Barusevicis. I never forgot it. Mrs. Fronduti, I am a nurse, and I took care of Dr. Fronduti's patients as a nurse's aide and graduate nurse working in a hospital in West Philadelphia. Mrs. Nolan, I have fond memories being a guest in your home making scrapbook pages for a retiring kindergarten teacher. Mr. Hanna, your next-door neighbor is godmother to my children, and she was the first one to see my son when we brought him home from the hospital. A small world indeed. Recently, I sent a letter to each of you expressing my concerns about Mr. Wigo's performance review. I requested acknowledgement of receipt of my email and confirmation that you were able to open the attachment. Mr. Tyson, you were the first one to respond. Thank you. Others responded shortly thereafter, and I thank you as well. But some of you didn't respond at all, so I'm not sure if you didn't receive it, had trouble opening the attachment, or just chose not to respond. So for your benefit, I will read my letter here tonight. Dear RTM School Board members, thank you for posting the criteria that will be used to evaluate Mr. Wigo's performance on the district website. This shows your responsiveness to community inquiry. It is my sincere hope that each and every one of you take this review seriously and give it the time and consideration it warrants. I am writing to express my concern for my children, their teachers, the staff, taxpayers, and the entire RTM community. I have lived in media since 1970 and cannot recall a time when I felt so uneasy about the district where I reside. I realize my letter is only one of many to your inboxes, but it is my sincere hope that my letter and my concerns are not diluted with all the other correspondence you receive and that you take it seriously. I question and am highly suspect of Mr. Wigo's motivations, his integrity, his character, and the moral and ethical standards that seemingly define him after attending the Bill Bennett hearings and all that was revealed and learned during and after that time. I have doubts and zero confidence in his capabilities to serve in this capacity or any capacity in our school district. And frankly, I don't know that there is anything you can say to me to convince me otherwise. The momentum in the community is palpable, and there are many, many people like me who feel it is appropriate and warranted for Mr. Wigo and RTM to part ways. There is an overwhelming abundance of documentation and examples to support his ouster. Mr. Wigo crossed the line when he humiliated and bullied a 6-year-old first grader on the second day of school. He broke the Bobcat Pledge. Those of you with ties to Indian Lane know what I'm talking about, and this infraction demands swift and decisive action by the school board. Why is Mr. Wigo not held to the same standards as the students and teachers who recite this pledge every morning? Consider this a call to action for you, our elected school board, to step up to do what's best for our children, our wonderful teachers, staff, and the taxpayers. And please, check your political agendas in at the door. Mr. Wigo is a loose cannon who has demonstrated he cannot control his temper. Show me what you're made of. Prove to me that you have the best interests of our children in mind, and do your best to convince me why any of you deserve to be reelected in November. Thank you.